speaker is Kristi Rogers. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kristi because it's going to be a fun dialogue. Kristi knows what it's like to feel that the only thing that matters is producing results. For years, she took productivity to an extreme. And yes, it did pay off financially. She was a top salesperson in a networking organization 8 years in a row, won awards, and received accolades. And it never brought her what she really wanted, which was connection. So she's really delved heavily into learning partnership skills. And she went on a spiritual journey to learn how to improve her relationships and mindset. And through wisdom, freedom, and fulfillment she found in that, she's become so powerful that she's really dead set on sharing that with the world through her Business and Friend philosophy series, which is really something that she has created with love to really try to help others who have gone through a journey like hers. Welcome to the stage, Kristi Rogers. Hello, Kristi.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here and have this conversation and share and inspire.
Right? As is the goal, right? Is the
Yes.
goal and is the mission. So Kristi, I really appreciated the vulnerability of your intro because it really gives us a sort of mindset as to where you're going, where you're headed in the work you're doing. Let's start off with our love question, right?
Yeah.
So as you think about your obviously, you were very successful being highly productive, right? And in some areas, you were being very loving to certain aspects of yourself, and others maybe not. How do you feel love plays in the productivity game?
Oh gosh, it's such a loaded question because it's really easy to get caught up in producing results and not right, like anything that's irrelevant to the result that we're producing. If it's not relevant, it's easy to dismiss it. And so love plays a really important part in being a phenomenal leader so that people both like you as well as people want to produce for you. So I had actually just had a really amazing experience with I volunteer for a local association here where I live, and there has been a little bit of troubles, just life happening, mistakes happening. And the incoming president, she definitely understands um, this ability to partner and produce results as well as to connect and support people. And so we sent an email. There was a problem we were addressing, so we sent an email, and a couple of people responded poorly to the email. There was a vulnerability in there that people didn't like. And so they, came to her defense and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we talked about it after she got this feedback, and it was so amazing. We got to each of us got to share what was going on, what was happening for each one of us. Uh, so it deepened our understanding, and then we really got to support each other on a deeper level of what do you need? Here's what I need, and to be a united front when we then addressed it with people. And what was fascinating for me afterwards was, once we moved past talking about that and started talking about her year as president, the sense of peace and safety that I felt was phenomenal. I was looking for who can I be and how can I be my best self going into this year with her. And it was awesome from going from this CYA mode, cover your butt mode that most cultures perpetuate into experiencing this wow. I feel safe. I feel safe if I make a mistake. I don't have to worry about being blamed. It gave me so much access to this what's possible. And I'm like, wow, if more people could feel this in the work culture and, with leaders, it would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It would be,
Yeah.
right? So one
Yeah.
of the one of the challenges I see there, and I'm curious of your experience with this, right? So I don't know how many times I could probably I probably have $1 million. If I heard the phrase, what was it like, change the wheels while the tire is going, right? While the bicycle's riding, right? Like we're changing the tires while the car is going. Because you're basically, to your point, you have this productivity measure, right? Like we need X in sales, we need Y in phone calls, we need so many clients supported, we need so many development hours, or whatever the thing is, right? The thing, the productivity thing. Um, and then to your point, there's all this connection and connectivity that if you are just purely measuring for the outcome, you kill the connectivity potentially, right? And in fact, to your point, I think is really ultimately like the connection is what will drive the productivity, right? Um, how is it that we as leaders within our own selves, right? Because you got the challenge within your own self. You got like, I can go be super productive, or am I connected to the people I'm actually serving? Right. Or you go to the executive level or the entrepreneur level where you're like, yes, I can go get this productivity measure, but am I actually connected to the people around me? How do you balance it and how do you encourage it? How do you encourage the connection?
So it's number one is you have to know and realize that human beings have these two modes going on. So and most people are unaware. As we see life, we have our dominant mode, which I call business mode, which is all about producing results, solving problems, making things happen. And then friend mode, which is all about connectivity. It's about collaboration. It's about working together. It's about being a part of and belonging. Okay. So, number one is people have to learn that there's these two modes going on. Most of us don't know because what happens is we see life through our dominant mode. And if people are interacting with us from that same mode, it's pretty peaceful and it's pretty easy and it feels really good. However, if someone is interacting with us from the opposite mode, there's a lot of friction, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of frustration, a lot of hurt feelings because we see the other person as misbehaving, right? And
We
so,
judge them.
yeah, because we don't understand, we're unaware. So, very first is being aware that there's these two modes going on. Then, because we do have a dominant mode, then it becomes how do I honor and respect and include and empower the other mode? So everybody has this awareness work, personal growth work that they need to do. So if you're predominantly in what I call business mode, right? You're all about productivity. Then what's really important is to learn to connect, which is going to require number one is to give more space to time, right? You have to like step back, take a deep breath, and be able to take in more of what's going on. And a way to do that is to relax the time requirement. Number two is to look for and value the connection, right? It's so easy in business mode, as I mentioned earlier, to see it as irrelevant. You know, someone comes in, you're trying to focus and meet a deadline, and someone walks into your office and they're like, "Hey, want to go to lunch?" And you know, maybe you look up and
What?
you're just like, can't you see I'm doing, you know, you're thinking, can't you see I'm in the middle of this? No, I don't want to go to lunch. You know, why are you bothering me with that? So if you have that attitude, there's no room, no space, no awareness for connection. So you have to learn how to value it and to see, you know, we are human beings that we're working with, that people need both. They need the connection. It might not be in that moment. It could be in that example. Hey, you know what? I'd love to go to lunch. I can't today. How about tomorrow or Thursday? You know,
Yeah.
make up a time that you can do it. But this dismissiveness of people wanting to connect has caused this enormous imbalance in our culture. Like, look at the epidemic of loneliness, the epidemic of disconnection, the epidemic of people feeling isolated is because we live in such a productivity obsessed culture, and that just dismisses this human vulnerability to connect and to be known and to be real and to be honest.
Mhm. I will ask you all those who are listening in here, put in the chat if you're more of your nature is more the friend mode or the what you call the business mode,
Yeah,
right?
business mode or friend mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah. I will
compelled?
say, what's interesting is I absolutely relate to this because I forever have been the business mode guy. Loved, I think of this as the disc assessment. So I'm a high D, right? So loved getting shit done fast, right? Getting shit done fast, right? So like, and almost to the point, yeah, Biz, I see Biz. Friend mode. Okay, beautiful. So here's the thing, right? People in the business mode, we are time and thing, right? Like it sounds terrible, but humans are almost just things. I need you to do this.
Yeah.
I need you to get this done. Can you get this done? Right. And we need that in the world, honestly, to build buildings and to make things happen. You need a D. It's almost like a lot of times elders, children will fall in this category, right? Like it's just interesting. Both love the both. And I think that Lorna, that's the best place to be. But the other side, you realize that there's this humans are doing all the doing. And unless you're in the friend zone, you don't understand, oh my gosh, no, you can't do that because you know what? Your mom is going through a major illness right now. And for these next 2 weeks, you can't do that because you're caring for someone who gave their lives for you. And you need to take these 2 weeks out. Oh my gosh, what happened to my humanity? I'm not respecting and honoring that life isn't go, 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 go. So you have to stop the time and look at the people, right?
Yep.
And this is the big balance. This is the big balance.
Well, and it's not even so much balance, it's an honoring, it's a partnering, it's a collaboration. It's
Yeah.
learning again that there's these two modes, which you all now know, and how can I communicate in a way that honors the mode that I'm in and the mode that you are in? Right? And again, it mostly shows up when we're in opposite modes. But how can I communicate? What can I say? So it's always honoring yourself first and the mode that you're in, and then communicating to honor the mode that they are in.
Yeah. And I will say though, I agree. The thing I find interesting, and I appreciate some of the chats that are talking about this experience. Um, the ability to be both when you need to be either is like I say that's the goal because I
Yeah.
feel so often like, you know, walking into a situation, and even you have to know this for yourself, especially if you're a solopreneur, but especially if you're in a large company, you need to know, do I need to turn on my doer or do I need to turn on my sensor, my B or my connector energy? What does this moment require? You get to
Yeah.
be, and it's challenging because you have to like develop another sense of vision, right? Another sense of perception.
Let me share with you some ways to recognize what mode somebody's in. And this will help you to if you're starting to feel tense. So your body, when you're starting to interact with someone from the opposite mode, you're going to start feeling tense. Okay. So then you can now go to yourself, say to yourself, "Uh-oh, I'm feeling tense. We must be in opposite modes." So, somebody that's predominantly in business mode, they're in productivity mode, they're going to be really focused and no eye contact. Okay, so they're not even looking at you. If they're walking in a straight line, trying to get where they're going, maybe looking at you, maybe not, maybe looking at the ground, not taking much in. They're very focused and expending the least amount of energy on anything else. They'll be speaking to the point, right? One word answers. They'll be saying, I think statements. Um, they'll be, there's a huge impatience, huge impatience. I need it now. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then it's all about efficiency. Let me just get it done, get her done, get her done. And don't be in my way. Okay, that's how you know someone's in business mode. How you know someone's in friend mode is it's literally the opposite. So they are trying to make eye contact. They are looking to make eye contact. That is number one way to for connection. Um, they'll be moving more slowly. Their eyes might be scanning and they're taking in all that's going on around them. They'll be looking up because well, let me finish this. Yeah, so they'll be looking around, taking things in. They'll be talking in details and telling stories, right? And revealing details about themselves and their life, maybe other people. They'll be saying, I feel statements. Um, Time is abundant when we're in our connection energy. And so they are a lot more patient. And lastly, think of them as just they're friendly, they're chattable, they're connectable. Okay, so you can see the opposites. You can see how they're opposites of each other. The work that we each mode need to do, and the awareness and how we can be more honoring of the other mode is if you're in productivity mode, is just step back and expand your awareness and just be aware that what you connecting provides is that the other person experiences a sense of safety, and when they feel safe, when the other person feels safe, they can be their best self. Okay, so let me take a step back. The whole reason for business mode and friend mode is it gives us a sense of safety in the world, right? It's all our instinct. This is human instinct. And when we feel safe, we get to be our best self. So be in productivity mode, wanting to warm up, wanting to be more connectable, is realize that when you hold the space for people to connect with you, they're going to give you more of their productivity. Remember my experience with that I shared earlier with the incoming president of this association. I am ready to bend over backwards because I feel so connected to her. Okay. So that will make it worth it for you to ex extend your time and space for the other person. And you need to warm up, make eye contact, smile, take interest, ask questions. Okay. Now, the work for people that are in friend mode predominantly, we have to be, and this is me because I'm more friend mode dominant, is be aware of time, commit and decide. Um, and yeah, those are the two biggest ones. So if we're having a hard time focusing, what you want to do is put a deadline on it, put a timeline on it. Okay, I need to have this done by 3 o'clock. And that will help to take our awareness of taking everything in and bring it in so that we can focus. So limit time and make a decision and stick to it. So by definition, productivity is all about being committed to producing a result, destination, value, or feeling. And then friend mode is all about being open to options, alternatives, and possibilities.
Now I'm curious. That's great. It's great. And you're right. It is so I'm curious what people would put in the chat as to how do you manage that within yourself? How do you manage that within yourself? And here's what I mean, right? With the
Yeah.
question. And I'm, interested in the answers and certainly interested in your answer, Kristi. I think about my own day, right? And there's an opportunity to be super productive. But if I'm super productive all day without any kind of break, I lose my connection. I lose my connection to what I'm doing. And all of a sudden, I'm like shoving off emails without really thinking about why I'm inviting you to this right event, right? I'm not enjoying the process. And I wind up really energetically. I'm not excited. And now all of a sudden you're not excited. You just did a task, right, to run an event versus I'm inviting people to come to an experience and I'm preparing that experience, right? And it's like that throughout the day, right? So like we're almost within ourselves, within our own beings, we're faced with friend mode, right? Which friend mode maybe feel good and might be really connected, but I also need to be productive or I'm not going to close the deal or make the sale, right? How do you decide how much to do in your lives as entrepreneurs or as leaders?
Ah, well, number one, every day is different. And this is the journey, right? This is, to me, this is the true labor of life. It's not the hours of, doing stuff. It's learning, how do I honor both sides of my life? Because we have both modes. So number one is you have to be aware of what is your dominant mode and what does that cause you to do? Like, what are your knee-jerk reactions if you're not feeling productive or you're not feeling connected? What happens to you, right? So for me, if I'm not feeling connected, a lot of self-doubt sets in. And then I start tanking, right? Emotionally and mentally. So that's number one, is to also understand your um, how do you react when you're not feeling safe because you're not producing result and you're not connecting. So what are your knee jerk reactions? And then, each day I really try to pay attention to what has to get done.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because I really work on this. I'm really having to work on my productivity, and I ask myself, what does it provide? So for me to get something in on time, what does that provide? Okay, it provides me feeling that I'm reliable and accountable, so people will want to do business with me, right? Um, and how does that make me feel? I feel proud of myself. Well, I'm into feeling proud of myself. That's like a big motivator for myself. So that's an example if you're trying to be more productive, if you're predominantly in friend mode. So if you're predominantly in business mode and need to be more connectable, is where can you expand more time space? Maybe you're going to a meeting, maybe you're making a call, is be aware to take a minute, a 2, 3 minutes to connect, to find out and ask somebody, a question. How's it going? What's going well today? What are you looking forward to? How was your weekend? So plan for and think about questions you can ask, and you have to care about the answer. This isn't just
Right?
yeah, this isn't just a, hey, how's your day? Because I can check that box that I connected. No, you have to genuinely want to know the answer. And if you don't want to know the answer, don't even ask the question. And you can start off and just say, hey, you know what? I'm really pressed for time right now. I know I'm in business mode. Can we just, get through this and we can connect later?
Mhm.
Right. So just owning where you're at also would be really helpful.
Yeah. I it is it is an art. You're right. You're
Yes.
really, really right. And I feel like, what's been so funny to me is I've heard in this group, but I've heard so many times people be apologetic about their age. They're like, oh, I'm old, or I'm kind of, you know what, this is the time when you've hopefully you've learned how to do this, right? You've learned how to start flexing between the two modes. I feel like part of our youth is we come out with our natural mode and we're like, oh, that thing, whatever that thing is, we do it really hard, right? Or we get trained and we don't realize we ignore part of it. And life is a learning game, right? Life is a learning game where we mess up and you go, wow, I ran that team to the ground. You know, and I definitely did that, running a software development team that built an EMR here in the city. And you just produce them down to ribbons. And then you're like, oh, that isn't good either. Because then people don't stay,
Yeah.
right? So it's like
They're
learning.
resentful. Yeah, they're
Mhm.
resentful, they're angry, they're not, again, it's all about feeling a sense of safety. Do I feel safe? Because there's peace and calm in um, being productive. There's peace and calm and safety in being and feeling connected. And then it's like we can get access that love energy, right? Our spiritual abundant energy. If we're not feeling safe, it's really hard to get to. You really can't.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when we judge the other, so, and I think that we do that, we tend to judge the other. Um, we judge the other side, right? Oh,
Yes.
they're so focused on productivity only. I hate them. Oh my gosh, they're so lazy. They're not being productive. I hate them, right? And it's really a mirror of our own uncomfortableness with ourselves in that mode, right? Man, I don't like to be in my feelings, so I'm going to judge those who are. I don't like to be always active, so I'm going to judge those who are, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, a balanced person flows between each of them as they need to get the job done and to lead a team, right? And to lead a team. Because you're going to have to, you're not going to have to, yeah, no, you are. You're going to have to realize you've got a group of individuals who have both of those aspects. And if you want to lead a team effectively, you get to do both, right? Both
And to
and
know that at any moment somebody can switch modes.
yeah.
So
And
one
be okay
moment,
with it. Be okay with it.
yeah, yeah, to under, but now that you know how to recognize each mode, you can capture it and just say, oh, they just shifted into, the other mode. Ah, I see what's happening, right? So then okay, hey, I see we only have 5 minutes left. Let's get to the point. Let's make this happen. Let's finish up. Or you know what? Enough about me or enough about business. What's going on? Update me. What
Yeah.
are you happy about? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just saw the comment made about, being yourself. Sometimes you want to be true to who you are.
Mhm.
What's interesting to me, meaning whichever mode and absolutely you can't fake a mode. I will say what I have learned is inviting people into the mode that they're not. Right. So like talking with a really supportive person about, hey, like, what do you think of our productivity and how could it be better? Right. Or someone who's very productive and saying, like, you know what, we're not very connected as a, what do you think? Right. Asking people to even explore the other mode is sometimes a way to connect with them in a way they're not used to and unlock more out of the individual. Um, I'm curious, Kristi, tell us how can we work with you leaving this conversation? How can people work with you and what are they going to benefit from as they think about these modes in their workplace or in themselves?
I feel like I feel like warning sign. I'm in connection mode.
I think that's great.
um see? We have fun conversations because we're both strong in our dominant mode, and so it's really fun. I love learning from you, Helmut. Okay, so I'm offering a 30-minute collaborate with others call where we could talk more about this. You can share what your dominant mode is, and I can help you with what um, what can you do to better flow and partner with the other mode. And then this bigger picture, if you're interested, there's a whole series I teach on this. It's an 8-part series called The Business Plus Friends Philosophy. But a good next step is let's have a call, 30-minute call, and connect from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristi, for your gift. And thank you for
Thank
this
you.
conversation. I love it. I always enjoy this dialogue with you. But y'all don't know this, but Kristi and I have like literally just talked for like hours on the phone about the secrets of the universe. But this particular area, I think it's
Yeah.
so relevant. It's so relevant as we are producing in our corporations or our business, yet we're dealing with the humanity and we've got a balance between the two. So thank you, Kristi, for this dialogue and bringing it to light.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I'm going to share real quick with you all that I think we dropped the piece in there. Before we get to our next speaker, just going to do a quick little plug. And this is just a reminder. Dos will drop the link in for those here in the chat. That we really part of our work here is with the Gailey Impact. The Gailey Impact is a nonprofit that's dedicated to empowering culture with love. And one of those elements of love is financial literacy. So many of you may be aware that financial literacy is the #1 economic crisis in the world, but we literally have billions of humans on this earth that don't even know how to use money so that they can love themselves and love their families. Some of the shocking data around Americans, around how many of us don't have enough to cover an emergency, how many of us don't have retirement savings, how many states do not teach our youth around what I would call one of the most important issues of our time. Because really, a lot of what we're talking about as we go to work and we go out there and create these jobs is about creating a system for loving our families, loving ourselves, loving our community. And so many people aren't in that game. But if you are, and even if you're listening to this, you're like, no, I've got my general stuff done. Um, you can never stop learning about money, because there's always the next way to do the next thing to make it better so you can go help more people. So I get super spirited about helping people who do know money to know even more about money. And that's why you'll see here in the picture Kim Schooler. Kim Schooler actually does these sessions with me. If you click on the link, welcome to share that with anyone you know who A, has challenges with literacy, or B, who wants to know the right next move to grow their money significantly. Kim Schooler has been helping people to unlock their wealth. She has written a book called How Money Works for Women. And she's very much partnered with me as an LGBTQ leader around how money works for our community as well. Financial literacy and financial know-how is the way to really move society forward by ensuring legacy within all of our various facets as humans. So I'm just going to share that with you. You can come on board. We're going to teach you the rule of 72. We're going to teach you about the 7 money milestones. And there's a free opportunity for you to actually work with Kim and myself around your particular financial desires and what you'd like to see yourself do next, whether it's real estate or building your business or investment, however that is, or insurance, whatever your game is. So just want to invite you to that opportunity. The next session